This is how I go about finding my spots to actually go out and herp. I get messages, I get people trying to find my spots. I mean, I'm not like some expert, like, no way, shape, or form. I'm just a guy, but I put time and effort in, and usually I go out and find stuff. I know in the beginning I had no idea what I was doing. I would be surprised to even go out and find a black racer, like literally no experience whatsoever. To I've found pine snakes. I find pygmy rattlesnakes routinely. Not the rare stuff. I found a king snake this year. It's not like I'm going out there and I'm just crushing all these crazy snakes all the time, but I do run into one every once in a while. And I think a lot of it has to do with the same attitude I've had for fishing, on how I go about finding my spots. And I'm just going to do a quick little easy way to, maybe boost some of your numbers and actually go out and find some interesting things. The one thing I will say before I get into that is the thing I hate the most is when I get a message from somebody asking me for a spot, what area you found it in, roughly, whatever. If you message me and compliment me on the animal, awesome. And then you talk about your stuff, I'll talk about mine. Actually have a conversation with me. If you just come in straight off the bat, I know that's the only thing you want, and you want to find that. I really don't have any interest in that, because I've had to find pretty much all my spots myself, and I know people now that I trust that I go herping with. But besides that, all right. So the thing I use the most is just Google Maps, and I'm going to go show you how I do that. And there's a method I use to go about doing this, so I'm going to show you that. And I'm not going to show any particular spots or anything. I know I'll find a couple spots I've never actually been to myself, and so I'm not giving away anything, because I know how touchy people can get about that, and I get it to an extent. Like, if I put that time and effort into finding a spot, I don't want anyone else to know where it is, unless I want them to. So, because I put a lot of time and effort in, especially time. I mean, I've put out thousands of hours into it, and again, I'm not even that good. I just get lucky sometimes, but anyway, here it is. All right, guys. So what I am doing right now is I'm going to go over how I find stuff. And basically, you're gonna see some of my pins out here. Yes, I have a few flip spots out there. If you can find where they are based on these pins right here, I applaud you. But and I have some flip spots down here too, but I know them by landmarks, and I haven't pinned them down, even though I probably should. But anyway, I'm going to start off by looking into what animal do I want to find. Do I want to find an indigo? Do I want to find a rattlesnake? Do I want to find a pine snake? And something that's a little bit harder to come across, like a pine snake, I will just go over that, because it's just, I doubt any of the spots I find are, they may not actually hold anything, but they're going to be areas I'm going to look into. And actually, I'll just go to a place I have found a pine snake, but you'll never know where, so it doesn't really matter. All right, I'm going to first off by start thinking about their habitat. What is a pine snake like? It likes sand hills. It likes well-drained soils. They spend most of their life underground. So where am I going to find sand hills and pine forests, a little bit drier areas? I'm going to find that in the central part of the state. You can see most of my pins are generally central. Some of it's a little wetter than others, but generally central. I do a lot of that. Down south, more swampy. Central Florida is where you're going to find the sandhills. So where am I going that I know personally, because I've been through in it a lot, that has a lot of sandhills and the type of stuff, and I know that they have pine snakes? Start with the Ocala Forest. You can see this whole centralized area from Denellen, Crystal River, Ocala. That's all farmland in there, and mixed in sandhills. Those are great. You can find these animal, what I'm looking for in there too. But I'm going to try to get a little bit more out away from all of that farmland and try to get mostly into just straight forest, because I know that they are going to be the least amount disturbed out there, even though they're still a little roughed up. They're going to be the least amount disturbed out there compared to in farmland. Anyway, you see there's the bombing range. I am going to look at places in all these roads where I think there might be some, chances of actually finding stuff. All these are dirt roads out here. I've been through them. There's like one or two that aren't. I know pretty much all these roads, like 4th Road 88, where the shooting range is. That is a paved road. And then around it, all of these are dirt roads. So I'm going to find a little stretch that I think might have some. And I mean, that could honestly be the whole forest. Pines, dirt roads going throughout it. It's a tough forest to hit. So what I would do if I were you is I would just cruise those roads and stick to, I know there's a bunch of these dirt roads out here. I'm going to stick to those roads that cut through some of that thick stuff and just cruise the roads, and hopefully I come across one. But in a more defined area, I'm going to say, let's go over to Denellen. I'm going to zoom in. A lot of these neighborhoods are developing neighborhoods inside sandhills. So you see there, I mean, you can even see pocket gopher holes all over the place out here. Pocket gophers, that's what pine snakes eat. That's what they live in. You see all these pocket gophers everywhere. So why wouldn't there be pine snakes out here? Yes, it's developed. I would just try to go toward the outsides of the developed areas. Their food sources there. I mean, that's a thicker neighborhood. But there's some of these neighborhoods that are on the outside that are still developing. You can also cruise, try to stick toward the woods in these developed areas. That's just an option. But that would be if I was looking for pine snakes. So say I want to find cottonmouths. Cottonmouths, they live in more swampy areas. So what am I going to do? I'm going to find darker green forested areas that have a lot of water. And you could go to a place like, there's the biggest bit of swamp in the central part of the state, pretty much, the Rich Loam Green Swamp area. What am I going to do? I'm going to go in these swampy areas, and I'm just going to be like, there's some roads going throughout the middle of this thing. See if you can find some of these concretes. Is this concrete, paved, or is this dirt? Pretty sure that's dirt. But 471 goes right through it. That's all paved. It's too busy, though. That's the main highway going through it. And if you don't know that, you'll have to drive down and try it. But, that's basically how I go about it. It's nothing, too crazy or out of the way. If I want to go down to Everglades, there's only a couple places to really go off down here. And that's pretty much Everglades National Park and Loop Road. Everyone knows these roads. So there's some dirt roads out here. But, that's a little bit, it's different. It just depends on where you're at. Okeechobee, I'm not going to get into the Canefield area. But, any of these places. Random place out in the middle here. Let's see. There's some water going through a river. There's some farmland. I'm sure if there was a couple of roads out here in the middle of nowhere. See, most of these roads are really tiny. Most of these roads are small neighborhood roads. You can find snakes on them, for sure. Like that road going through out there looks pretty good. What is that? Sweetwater Road. It just goes through a bunch of open area, disturbed area. But it's not really near any forests. I mean, it's all developed out there. I mean, I'm sure there's some snakes out there, but I'm going to have a harder time finding them. I want to increase my odds. Highlands Hammock State Park. There we go. Look at this road. This road goes, Hammock Road? Can't tell. That looks like it might be dirt. No, I mean, this is paved, but you can't tell if it turns into dirt eventually. No. But if that stays concrete, that looks like a good spot right there. It goes through the middle of a bunch of good habitat. Sure, as long as it's not busy. That's actually a pretty decent road right there. So that's how I'm going to go about it. Again, this is nothing crazy. It's nothing too complicated. Honestly, you guys probably feel dumb watching this because it's something you already figured out. But I get a lot of people asking me where I find stuff. You know, I'm not going to go out unless I feel like I have a good chance of finding something. You know, even if, you know, I'm just not big in staying. I just try to get away from people, and get into some woods, get away, drive any of the roads you can. Sometimes when you get down there, it looks different. And then maybe you stop randomly and you go down a road that you never thought of going down. And that's your new lucky road because you find, you know, something good off of it the first time you go down it. But that's basically it. Do the same thing for hiking. If you want to hike in an area, just look over the area with the maps first. Nothing too crazy. Well, down there, like, comment, and follow. And we'll have more videos coming out soon. More herping videos. And I'm going to start doing some fishing videos probably too. I don't know, whatever I feel like posting. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you next time.